There's a moment in everyone's life when the world stops. Not because something incredible happened, but because something broke. Maybe it's the job interview you were sure you nailed. Maybe it's the exam you studied for weeks. Maybe it's a business idea that collapsed before it even stood. Or maybe it's simply life reminding you that things don't always go as planned. In our story, that moment hits like a punch to the chest. Our character steps out of a building or closes a laptop and feels the air shift. A strange mix of embarrassment, anger, and disbelief washes over them. How did this happen to me? I tried so hard. This is the part nobody teaches you about failure. It doesn't arrive quietly. It arrives with noise, the noise inside your head. Their heart races, thoughts spiral, and for a few seconds they feel completely lost. But then something different happens. Instead of running from the feeling, instead of pretending everything is fine, they stop. Just stop. Right there on the pavement, in the hallway, in the car, they pause. This pause is the real beginning. Because when life breaks you, your first instinct is to react, to panic, to blame yourself. But the strongest thing you can do in this exact moment is nothing. No fixing, no forcing, just pausing. The story shows them taking one slow breath, not to erase the failure, but to accept it. Their shoulders drop. The noise begins to fade. For the first time since things fell apart, they feel a tiny bit of control returning. This is the moment when the character realizes something powerful. Failure didn't destroy them. It just stopped them long enough to decide who they want to be next. And in that quiet pause, the comeback begins. After failure hits, most people rush into panic mode, overthinking, blaming themselves, replaying everything in their minds. But in our story, something different happens. The character, shaken, confused, completely overwhelmed, decides to sit down, not to quit, but to breathe. They find the nearest spot, park bench, the edge of a bed, even the driver's seat of their car, anywhere that allows them to just exist for a moment. Their shoulders are tense, hands trembling, thoughts racing like a storm with no brakes. But then they take one slow breath, in for 4 seconds, hold for 2, for 6, and suddenly something begins to shift. Because this isn't just a breath, it's a message to the nervous system. You're safe, you're alive, you can calm down. In that 5-minute window where most people drown in self-criticism, our character uses the most powerful tool humans have, conscious breathing. They remember a story they once heard about an athlete who choked during a world-level competition. Everyone thought he'd crumble, but right before his next attempt, he closed his eyes, breathed deeply, and reset. Not because breathing fixes failure, but because breathing fixes you. As our character breathes, the storm inside begins to settle. The noise becomes softer, the pressure on their chest loosens, and the failure that felt gigantic a moment ago now feels manageable. Breathing doesn't change what happened, but it changes how you face what happened. And in that moment, the character feels a strange sense of strength rising. Not loud, not dramatic, but steady. A strength that whispers, you're still in control. You can still decide the next chapter. With one final deep breath, they lift their head. They're not fixed, but they're calmer. Not healed, but grounded. And now, for the first time since everything went wrong, they're ready to think clearly. This is the breath that saves them, not from failure, but from themselves. As the character sits there, breathing slowly, something unexpected happens. Not in the outside world, but inside their mind. A memory surfaces, not a memory of success, but of another moment when things once fell apart. Maybe it was a time they failed an exam, lost a client, got rejected from a dream job, or watched a personal project collapse. A moment that felt just as heavy, maybe even worse, than today. In the flashback, they see themselves younger, confused, scared, convinced their life was falling apart. But then they remember something important. They survived that moment. In fact, they grew from it. The scene plays like a short movie. Late night studying after a bad grade. Starting a new business after losing the old one. Finding new opportunities after rejection. standing up again when everyone expected them to quit. It wasn't pretty, it wasn't fast, but they made it through. As they watched this memory replay in their mind, a slow realization forms. If I survived that, why can't I survive this? The purpose of this flashback isn't to compare failures. It's to remind them of their strength, the strength they forget every time life knocks them down. The character begins to see something clearly. Today's failure is not their first battle, and it definitely won't be their last. But every past struggle they overcame is proof that they're capable of handling this one too. What once looked like weakness now looks like training. What once felt like breaking now feels like building. The flashback fades, but the feeling remains. A quiet confidence. Not loud, not dramatic, but real. They sit up straighter. The pressure on their chest softens even more. And for the first time since today's failure, they feel grounded in reality, not emotion. They whisper to themselves, "I've been here before. I can rise again." And just like that, the past becomes their teacher. After breathing calms the storm and the flashback reminds the character of their strength, they enter the most important part of dealing with failure, the truth check. It lasts only 30 seconds, but it changes everything. The character looks down, wipes their face, and asks themselves one simple question. Is this failure the end? Or is it a message? Not a punishment. Not a sign that they're worthless. Not proof that they should give up. Just a message. For a moment, silence fills their mind. Then the real thoughts arrive. Not the emotional ones that scream, "I'm not good enough," but the calm ones that whisper the truth. They replay what happened, but this time without panic. Was it lack of preparation? Wrong timing? A simple mistake? Or something completely out of their control? Most people never do this. They jump straight to self-blame, assuming failure means they're broken. But the character chooses honesty over emotion. And in that honesty, something powerful appears. Clarity. They realize the failure isn't about who they are. It's about what happened, a moment, not an identity. The truth check shows them what's real. They tried. Something didn't work. And now they know more than they knew yesterday. It doesn't erase the pain, but it shrinks the fear. It doesn't solve everything, but it brings focus. It doesn't change the failure, but it changes the meaning. In these 30 seconds, the character sees that this moment is not the end of their story. It's the turning point. They lift their heads slightly, almost surprised by how different the world feels when seen through truth instead of fear. And they whisper a line every strong person eventually learns. This didn't happen to stop me. It happened to guide me. The failure hasn't disappeared, but now it finally makes sense. Once the character sees the truth clearly, something inside them shifts. The failure that felt like a full stop now looks more like a comma, a pause, not an ending. This is where the story turns powerful. Because now, instead of replaying what went wrong, the character begins imagining what could go right. They close their eyes, not to escape reality, but to rewrite it. In their mind, they visualize a different version of the same moment. Not the one where they failed, but the one where they succeeded. The feeling of walking out confident. The sound of someone saying, "You got the job." The excitement of a client saying yes. The pride of seeing a project come alive. For a moment, they feel that version of themselves, the version who wins. Why does this matter? Because failure shapes your past, but imagination shapes your future. The character realizes they've been replaying the wrong story. They were stuck in the scene where everything collapsed, when they could be preparing the scene where everything rises. They begin rewriting the narrative in their head. And not "I failed," but "I learned." And not "I'm not good enough," but "I'm getting better." And not "It's over," but "This is the beginning." This isn't blind positivity. It's direction. A reminder that tomorrow isn't written yet. And they hold the pen. The rewritten story gives them hope. But more importantly, it gives them a plan. They start thinking, what can I do differently next time? What small change would improve my chances? What version of this story do I want to create? Slowly, the character feels their confidence returning, not from ego, but from vision. They whisper to themselves, "Today didn't go how I imagined, but tomorrow can. And in that moment, they realize the truth. Failure doesn't define you. The story you choose next does. With a new story forming in their mind, the character reaches the moment that separates people who stay stuck from people who rise. It's not a big decision, not a dramatic comeback, not a life-changing move. It's a micro-action, a tiny step they can take right now within the next 60 seconds. They look around. The world is still the same. Their failure is still real, but they are different now, calmer, clearer, and ready. The character asks themselves, what's one small thing I can do in the next minute? Not tomorrow, not next week, not when I feel ready, right now. Maybe it's sending one email. Maybe it's rewriting a single paragraph. Maybe it's watching a 2-minute tutorial about the thing they want to improve. Maybe it's listing one mistake so they can learn from it. Maybe it's simply standing up and saying, let's try again. We often think success comes from massive action. But the truth is, every comeback begins with the smallest step, the kind most people ignore because it looks insignificant. But not our character. They choose their micro-action. Something so small it's impossible to fail. And when they take that step, something magical happens. A momentum wakes up. Confidence flickers back to life. Fear loses a little of its power. The future feels a little closer. The character realizes that the hardest part of overcoming failure isn't fixing everything. It's just starting again. This tiny action becomes proof that they're not broken, not defeated, not finished. They're moving, even if it's slow, even if it's small, even if no one sees it, because the smallest step forward is still a step forward. They smile, not because the problem is solved, but because they finally feel in control of the story again. And with that one micro-action, they whisper something powerful. I'm back. The moment the character takes that tiny step, that micro-action, something inside them shifts permanently. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, but it's real. They stand up a little taller. Their breath feels steadier. Their mind feels clearer. For the first time since everything went wrong, they feel like themselves again. But stronger. Now comes the final phase, the hero exit. Not the kind you see in movies, but the kind every real person experiences when they decide to walk away from failure with dignity instead of fear. The character looks around. The world hasn't changed, the same streets, the same building, the same people rushing by. But they have changed. They're no longer reacting to the failure. They're responding to it. Big difference. They straighten their shoulders. They breathe out one last time. And they take a step forward, a nod away from the failure, but toward the future. Because heroes aren't defined by winning every battle. They're defined by how they walk after losing one. As they walk, a quiet confidence follows them like a shadow. Not arrogance. Not denial. Just grounded strength, the kind earned through setbacks, not success. They know the journey ahead won't be easy. They know tomorrow will require effort, discipline, maybe even more failure. But they're no longer scared of it. Because this time they're prepared. They've paused. They've breathed. They've remembered their past strength. They've checked the truth. They've rewritten their story. They've taken action. They've done the work. Now they exit the moment like a hero, calm, focused, and unbroken. As they walk into the distance, one last thought crosses their mind. Failure didn't end my story. It introduced a stronger version of me. And with that, the comeback truly begins.